Breaker, breaker, come in. How's everybody doing? Okay, so first off, you're gonna hear explosions probably in the background because here in the urban jungle of Buffalo, they like blowing them off down here. So it's pretty fun. The cats don't love it. Usually they're further to the west than this neighborhood, but well, I can hear them now. I don't know if you can. On cue. There'll be plenty of that. So happy 4th to you. I'm going to have to try to make this brief for a few reasons. One of them being my iPhone doesn't have much charge left. Two, my iPad is kind of on the fritz. And three, I caught a cold. I caught a cold this morning. Yeah. Yeah, I woke up with a sore throat. I had performed. I had a couple of music gigs Friday and Saturday, which were super fun. And I was supposed to play yet again today down in actually in ski country. I mean, they don't ski in the summer, but in the ski country, which is called Ellicottville, New York. It's about 80 minutes south of Buffalo. And I was really looking forward to it. The pay was really good, and I woke up with a sore throat. I'm like, nah, it's not going to happen. I can't. I don't feel good, and I can't risk getting anybody else sick. So I did take a COVID test, and it's negative. So I just think I have a mild cold, and I've been taking good care of myself today. Yeah, see, that's so yes, I'm sick. Also, people say you shouldn't drink when you're sick, but I beg to disagree. So I'm gonna have a little whiskey because it's relaxing. Just one. So got some synchronicities for you today that I thought were kind of fun. Once I finally got out of bed, I slept about 12 hours. In the afternoon, I was sitting on my porch, and I was making lists of some cover songs that one of my bands, which is it's a long story that I won't go into now, but one of my old bands is coming back, and we're gonna do a 30th anniversary show in the fall. Actually, all right, I'll make it quick. The band's name is Plaster Sandals. Plaster Sandals. And it's a mafia joke. Like, if you don't do what the mob says, you end up in the river in cement shoes, except they're plaster sandals. Get it? And so, 30th anniversary this fall, after the band broke up initially in '98. And you can actually I finally got our old records posted online if you want to go listen and hear what that sounds like. But it's a different thing than a lot of my solo music because it's a bigger band. It's six people with two guitars and two horns, which gives it a lot of juice, a lot of power. And so I was thinking, hopefully beyond this October reunion show, the band will continue to do gigs. And I was making a list of some songs that we could throw in by other people. I mean, it was an originals band, but we would do a few covers of other artists in our set to mix things up. And when you have a horn section, you can really, try different things. So I had a list that included stuff like "Super Freak" by Rick James, who's from Buffalo. What else is on the list? "Brick House" by the Commodores, which is just hilarious. I think it's the Commodores. Yeah, it's not Blood, Sweat, and Tears or Earth, Wind, and Fire. Oh, I get them confused sometimes. No, Earth, Wind, and Fire did Fantasy in September, so Brick House is the Commodores. Anyway, and also on my list, I put down "Papa Was a Rolling Stone," which I think was by, who was that by? You'll know. Someone here will know. Temptations, maybe? Like, it was like an oldies group that had like a kind of weirdo 70s hit with this really long song. Like, "Papa Was a Rolling Stone" the original version is long. It's like 8 or 9 minutes long, and it's just a strange build, but it has such atmosphere. So I thought that might be fun to try. So anyway, I'm making my list. I'm just sitting there in the sun, just trying to get some vitamin D going in the system. And then I hear my neighbor outside washing his car, talking to his daughter. And then there was another guy there too. I think maybe her husband. My neighbor Dave is about 60. And he always, whenever he washes his car, he likes to play R&B tunes. I mean, he's a black man, but his tastes are essentially R&B, old school R&B. And so they're out there, and he's got some music going. And then I hear him say to his daughter, "Man, Papa was a Rolling Stone." was such a great tune. I had that tune in my head all day, etc., etc. Ah, I totally get it. I get that song, and I'm just sitting up on my porch thinking, "Oh yeah." So a little telepathic. Papa's Rolling Stone. It didn't play. It didn't play on the stereo or anything like that down there where he was washing his car. It was just that I had it on my list, and then all of a sudden, like probably 5-10 minutes later, he mentions it to his daughter and starts talking about the song at length. Sorry. So I thought that was pretty cool. So that was ding ding. We call the synchronicities ding ding, like a bell ringing. So that's ding ding number one. And then ding ding number two. I hope that's going to stop because that's pretty loud. Hold on 1 second. It's a whiskey break. Welcome to Buffalo. So, and then the second ding ding was kind of a little more involved, but it answered a question for me that I've been wondering about. I don't know if you've ever heard of a Canadian comedy troupe called Kids in the Hall. They came up in the late 1980s and into the early 90s, and they were really inspirational for my generation, for Gen X, the rebel kids, the punks, because they were completely rebellious and they skewered everything. They skewered corporate culture, they skewered religion, they skewered homophobia. And the show was very successful. They were, I think I said they were Canadian, but it was Lauren Michaels from Saturday Night Live who found them and like helped get them on the air initially. And I think they had a deal with HBO too. So some people don't know who they are, but if you want to see some really, really like kick-ass raw comedy, very unpolitically correct, politically incorrect. Kids in the Hall is a recommendation, and they have had a reunion this year, even though the guys I think are maybe in their early 60s now, and it's on Amazon Prime, which I have. And so they did a new season of shows that I've just started watching, but there's also a documentary about how they got together and the whole background on that, which I found fascinating for lots of reasons because it connected me with my teenage years and my childhood and kind of my whole aesthetic, my unwillingness to just go along with the flow, my desire always to question authority, inherently question authority, no matter who it is. Sometimes authority's correct, but to not take anything at face value because that's how you get hosed. So, in the last 2-3 weeks, I've had two dreams before watching any of this Kids in the Hall stuff today about me being on Saturday Night Live. Me, but as a comedian, not as a musician. Like I've joined the cast and I'm my current age and I'm like old compared to the young cast who are in their 20s and 30s. And I'm kind of like off doing my own thing and they don't really get me, but like I'm there. So it's like I have a presence and I'm on the show and I'm doing my own version of what I think is funny, but maybe it's not exactly in line with what the rest of the cast thinks is funny or what is the format of the show per se. So it's like, why am I having these dreams about this? And then I'm watching the Kids in the Hall documentary today, and they're saying how just before Kids in the Hall got their own show, they were scouted by people from Saturday Night Live, and two of the five guys were offered writing jobs on Saturday Night Live. So instead of like adding any of the Kids in the Hall actors to Saturday Night Live's cast, they just grabbed two of them to write for the show, Bruce McCullough and Kevin McKinney. But it didn't go well for them. They only lasted maybe a half year because they came from their own aesthetic. They had their own vision. They had this sort of like punk, Canadian punk irreverence that mirrored the American punk irreverence and also the British punk irreverence that was hard to kind of like, that they found difficult to feed into the machine that is kind of Saturday Night Live. And I don't find Saturday Night Live nearly as cutting edge as Kids in the Hall were from the same time period. I think that Kids in the Hall were much more daring, and as a young man, young artistic man, that was very inspiring to me. They were among my inspirations. So anyway, so it said how the two guys from Kids in the Hall ended up on writing for Saturday Night Live, and it didn't go well, and then they quit, or maybe they were fired. I don't recall. And then Lauren Michaels, who founded Saturday Night Live, decided that Kids in the Hall should have their own show, and then they went on to have their own success independent of Saturday Night Live. And so it's weird. It feels like it speaks to me a little, like, because it was almost like in the dreams that I had over the last 2 weeks, that would have been like me. I would have been like, and they talk about how they're a Gen X comedy troupe. That would have been like me trying to be a part of Saturday Night Live, or any kind of group that isn't really like on my wavelength. Like, you know, you got to be in the box that's right for you. And as I try to steer my life towards a continued musical future that hopefully includes building my music career beyond Buffalo once I am able to retire from the university in a few years and commit to music and concert promotion full time, then I can see how this dream would apply. Like, I'm going to have to always find my own way up the ladder, however far I get, because I'm not going to fit in the conventional box, just as Kids in the Hall. The Kids in the Hall guys didn't fit in the conventional box. And so the reason for this dream that I've had twice finally was made clear to me today when I was watching Kids in the Hall. The Kids in the Hall documentary, which is also on Amazon, as well as the new season. And of course, I guess I would have never watched any of that. Well, I mean, I might have eventually, but I wouldn't have watched any of it today if I hadn't been sick, because I wouldn't have been home. I would have been down in Ellicottville playing a gig. So instead, I've been taking it really easy today and just doing a little bit of writing and otherwise really relaxing and sleeping. So there you go. Those are my synchronicities for the day. I hope you have had a great 4th. Maybe you're about to celebrate now. Obviously, Buffalo's in flow now. I expect more fireworks all night. That's kind of how it goes in the city. You hear them all night in surround sound, but my AC is pretty loud, so I don't think I'll hear much of them. And when I feel a little bit better, I'll be back again. Everybody, stay positive. Try, if you're struggling with all the political stuff that's going on, which is definitely very dramatic and distressing, really try to refocus your energy towards the result we want in November, which is adding to the Senate majority. I mean, basically, we don't really have one now because of Manchin and Sinema, who are, you could toss them in a lake as far as we're all concerned. I'm sure we need 2 more seats, 3 more seats in the Senate to have a solid majority to get done what needs to get done, which includes a lot of the stuff I mentioned in the last video, but most importantly, women's reproductive rights to self-determination. That is number 1 in my mind. And so that's why the Senate must go to the Democrats. So put your energy towards it. Don't put your fear towards it. Don't put your anger towards it. Put your hope towards it. Put your prayers towards it. Put your positive belief towards it. This is how we manifest correctly. Correctly might be too strong a word, but this is the better way to manifest than the anger side of things. The anger side doesn't work that well, and the fear side definitely doesn't work that well. So January 6th, hey, they're doing what they set out to do. They have pasted 45. They have revealed him nearly fully for what he is, and it is moving the needle, just as the psychics predicted. And so, again, it's painful, it's difficult to watch, it's drawn out, but things are moving in the right direction, even if it doesn't seem like it every day. And it's much like, again, other psychics have said, yes, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back is a lot of what we're experiencing. But keep the faith, keep your hopes up, because things are heading to the better future. I don't know. I just have to believe it. I just have to. Okay, that's it for me. Take care. See you soon. Bye.